Well, Baron Mereworth, who is the plaintiff of an action which was issued and served in the Chancery Division of the High Court in London on the Ministry of Justice, which is also the Crown Office, has been issued because he has inherited the letters patent of Baron Mereworth upon the death of his father in 2002. The peerage was recognised by the House of Lords in February 2003, and yet he has not been issued with a writ of summons summoning him to the House of Lords or the Palace of Westminster so that he can take his oath to the Crown and take his seat in the Parliament and carry out his duties as a counsellor to the Crown. Repeated requests to Blackrod, to the Lord President of the Council, have failed to persuade the Crown Office to issue a writ of summons. And so the Baron, on the advice of lawyers, has issued a claim against the Ministry, and in not only asking that he should be issued with a writ of summons, he's also asking the court to rule on certain elements of the 1999 House of Lords Act as to its true meaning and what if any effect it ever had upon the workings of our Parliament. I think he's the fourth or fifth Baron to hold the letters patent which created the peerage of Baron Mereworth. It's not a question of whether he can win a case. The important issue is at hand is this. When the previous government, called New Labour, announced they were going to abolish the rights of what they called hereditary peers to sit in the chamber, they realised they had a major problem. Well, it all really began when Mr. Edward Heath negotiated this country's entry into what was called the common market. And everyone thought this was an excellent idea because we were told it would bring down trade barriers between the European countries and make the whole element of trading between ourselves much more efficient and therefore more profitable for everyone. In fact, what Mr. Heath did when he signed the Treaty of Rome, he assigned away our country's sovereignty. That was an act of high treason, and Parliament duly ratified the treaty, believing it was a trade treaty, which is why he wasn't sent where he should have been, to the gallows. Peerages are created by what are known as letters patent. They are issued by the Crown Office under common law. Now, for a life peerage, that means that the person who is given the letters patent and thereby created a peer of the realm, upon the death of that individual, the title dies. But there are peerages whereby it states that in the event the peer has an heir of the male blood, that heir will in fact carry on with the peerage. It's not, you can't inherit the peerage because it's in perpetuity. So even though there may be the 10th, 11th, 12th Earl, they were appointed by the monarch who created the peerage. So to call a peer an hereditary peer is not correct, they're successive. Now the thing is that to remove or to amend letters patent, it can only be done by an Act of Parliament which has that specific effect. Now how do we know that? We know that because Mr. Blair's wonderful leader of the House of Lords, who he also appointed the President of the Council, Baroness Ashton of Holland, confirmed this in a written answer in September, I think if my memory is right, 2009, to a written question put to her by a crossbench life peer called Lord Laird of Artigarvan. As a result of this woman's integrity and honesty, panic set into the Blair administration, and they immediately sent her to Brussels to take up the role as the Trade Commissioner. Now, of course, Mr. Clegg and Mr. Cameron are both in favour of the abolition of the House of Lords and converting it into an elected Senate. That in itself means both men are guilty of high treason, because an attack of a physical nature or verbal nature on our monarch is high treason. A capital offence during times of war. And one should never forget that Britain never signed a peace treaty with Germany in 1945, so technically and legally we are still at war with Germany. And of course we have a war going on in Iraq, another one in Afghanistan, and now Libya. So the gallows should be put to good use.